Larchmont and Mamaroneck compare.
Meet the village of Larchmont's new officials.
An end to a 4-year-old case.
Local students' efforts to put AIDS on ice.
Medicare changes you need to know about.
And seals, not in the zoo, but in the sound. Those stories and more coming up on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Sven Oehmer. Our top story. It is budget time in our area. In the village of Larchmont, a $13.76 million budget is on the table. This budget includes an 8.2% increase. According to village treasurer Dennis Pucciani, as reported in the Journal News, the increase in the budget proposal is due to an increase in pension, retirement and health costs. As village employees are also seeing a rise of their salaries of 3.5%, this adds another expense to the budget. The tax rate will go up by $22.24 per $1,000 of assessed value, and the average homeowner's bill is going to increase by $444 on a house assessed at $20,000. A hearing for the Larchmont budget is tentatively scheduled for April 3rd at Village Hall in Larchmont at 6:15 p.m. The village of Mamaroneck has proposed a $26.58 million budget, and this is an increase of 6.51%. The increase is due in part to a 4.25% salary increase for village police officers, higher healthcare costs for all village employees, and also higher costs for fuel. The total proposed budget has an increase of 6.58%, and the tax rate will go up by $18.05 per $1,000 of assessed value, and the homeowner's bill should increase by $231 on a house that has been assessed at $15,000. Tentatively scheduled is a public hearing set for April 10 at the village court at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue.
On April 3rd, the village of Larchmont gets new elected officials. Liz Feld becomes the new mayor. Marleen Kolbert remains a trustee and is joined by newcomer Jim Milstein. I was joined by all three in the studio. I'm going to start with you, Liz. First question, you take office April 3rd. What are the first two things on your to-do list?
The budget and the budget. They really are. We have a budget that we have to pass April 3rd by April 30th. Right. Our fiscal year goes from June 1st to May 31st. So as a board, we haven't met together once yet. So we'll all be sworn in officially on Monday, April 3rd. And that night we will have a public hearing on the tentative budget that has been put together by the previous board, of which I've been a member, as you know.
So you've seen the previous budget?
I have seen it. Now we, as a group, as a board, have not had a formal meeting on it really since the beginning of February. I've spoken to our treasurer, Dennis Pucciani, a number of times about some of the elements of the budget, as the other board members have. But this will really be our first crack at it together. So we'll spend April focused, I don't want to say almost exclusively, but in large part on the budget.
Now the proposed budget calls for a tax increase of 8-point-something, is that right?
Yeah, and about the mid 8%, and that's without even scratching the surface. I mean, that's really just basically coming in with some of the same costs we had last year with a few increases for cost of living stuff.
So the goal is to get that down?
Oh, absolutely, and we will get it down.
Okay, Marleen, what about you? Forgetting about the budget, top two things to deal with.
Well, we had said during the campaign that we were going to be looking particularly at our building department and our procedures for back office and looking at a way to streamline that. So I've already begun some preliminary discussions with some people about how we might look at things differently or the same, or what changes we might make. But certainly terribly preliminarily, not even ready to discuss practically with the board members, no less on television.
This is breaking news.
Right, exactly.
What about you, Jim?
Well, I think the budget's really what I'm going to be focusing on.
Okay, apart from the budget.
Well, then there's we talked about in the campaign the need to look at other ways to find more open space for Larchmont, and there are a couple of targets that we've got in mind, but they're going to cost money, so we've got to figure out where to find it.
Okay. Another issue that has been coming up a lot in the town and the village of Mamaroneck is day laborers. And I haven't heard much out of the village of Larchmont about that since the tri-municipal meeting. I guess that was in February. What do you think is going to happen in terms of the next steps? Are you going to get involved in the discussions? Is the village of Larchmont going to get involved?
Well, you know, Maura, truth be told, our board never had another meeting after that meeting. We met with, as you know, the village of Mamaroneck and the town of Mamaroneck, and I thought it was very productive. And for most of us, a lot of the news that came out of that and the information was brand new. Unfortunately, we never got together after that as a board to talk about what our role should be and how involved we should be in trying to find a solution. Certainly, there have been meetings with the clergy and the representatives from each of the municipalities to address finding a site. And I'm sure we'll be part of those conversations going forward. I have a very positive relationship with Valerie O'Keefe and with Phil Trifoletti, and I know the other board members do too. So certainly we'll have a seat at the table, and we'll do it as a board. It will be with me.
And it will be on the village's agenda.
Yeah.
Yes, and it already is, just by virtue of that meeting. Unfortunately, we haven't been privy to some of the conversations that have gone on in some of the meetings, but as soon as I get up to speed with Valerie and Phil, our board will talk about it together as a board.
Okay, when's your first meeting as a board?
Really, Monday night.
April 3rd?
April 3rd. So you're getting right to work.
Oh, yeah.
No rest for the weary, huh?
We're going to be sworn in Monday night at 6 o'clock, and everyone's invited to Village Hall,
Okay, so that's Monday night, April 3rd, Village Hall. What time?
6 p.m.
Okay. Now, Liz, this question's for you. One of the things we aired on our news show last week was after the election results were announced at Village Hall, the police lined up outside outside Village Hall and saluted you, which was really a rather touching moment. But the question comes up. Police contract negotiations will come up again 2008. Are you going to be softer on them?
Oh, Maura, that is not a message that anybody should take away from what transpired in this election or over the past year and a half. You know, the Larchmont Police Department and the Larchmont Fire Department have had a relationship of mutual respect with the village boards going back to when I grew up. I mean, I'd never seen an unfortunate situation like what we saw last year during the police contract negotiations. Our board voted unanimously in favor of the contract that we passed. As you know, the police had worked for a couple of years without a contract, which led to a lot of the acrimony. But no, listen, I've always acted in the best interest of the village. I will continue to do that. I was very proud to have the respect of and the endorsement of the police department, but that's not what that was about at all. And I have to tell you, that was a very emotional moment for me and for my family, and of course for my compatriots here, because it wasn't just about me. I think that it just was.
It was a very lovely moment.
It was.
I think we all enjoyed that evening a lot.
The Village of Larchmont Department of Public Works discovered recently parking meters that were empty when the employees went on the usual rounds of collecting the money from the meters. Review of surveillance cameras that overlook parking lot 2 showed that 2 individuals were opening the meters and taking the money out of them during night hours. However, the quality of the surveillance cameras was not good enough to allow the police department to identify the individuals who were committing the crime. But the thieves next made the mistakes to open the meters during daytime, and then the surveillance cameras were able to pick up the features of the people. On Sunday, March 12th, police officers arrested 2 suspects in parking lot 1 as they were emptying the meters. When they were confronted with the video from the surveillance cameras, they admitted to their crime and also gave police officers the name of a third person, a 16-year-old girl. The 2 18-year-old men and the girl are all residents of New Rochelle. They told police officers that they had found a key that allowed them to open the parking meters and that they would collect $30 to $40 per visit to the parking lot. The cameras installed at the Larchmont parking lots have been very successful in solving crimes, as suspects have to admit to their crimes once they are confronted with the evidence of the photographs.
As the United States Congress debates changes to U.S. immigration laws, the effects of immigration continues to make news in our community, in particular the day laborers in a hiring site. Westchester County Executive Andy Spano recently proposed that county-owned land near Harbor Island be used as a temporary hiring site for day laborers. The site is in front of the county's wastewater treatment plant on Boston Post Road, near the entrance to Harbor Island Park, and also is across from the Hispanic Resource Center of Larchmont and Mamaroneck. The county's offer depended upon the village designated parking spaces on Boston Post Road because the plant's driveway cannot handle the flow of traffic. The Mamaroneck Village Board rejected this proposal outright due to traffic and safety concerns by a vote of 4-1. The sole Democrat on the board, Tom Murphy, was the one vote to consider the county's offer and proposed that on a trial basis the plant's driveway be used. Trustee Tony Voza is opposed to the use of public land for a hiring site at all. Mariano Beneo, a co-president of the Hispanic Resource Center, does agree that any permanent site should be on private land, but as an interim solution, the county's proposal should be discussed. Of course, we'll keep you posted.
We already talked about new trains that are finally going to hit the rails of the New Haven Railroad. The railroad did a survey of its passengers to find out what they were really looking for. The new trains will go by the name M8 trains, and on the Hudson and on the Harlem lines, new trains were introduced over the last couple of years. And those trains are called M7. Passengers on the New Haven line were asked about the M7 trains, and Metro North also questions passengers who are using the M7 trains to find out what they like and don't like. Currently, Metro North plans to acquire 350 new cars. 250 of those will be replacements, while the 100 additional cars are expanding the current fleet. The cost of an individual car is estimated at $3 million, or a total for all the cars of about $1.05 billion. The trains that operate on the New Haven line are more expensive because they have to deal with two power systems. In Manhattan and the Bronx, and until the switchover near the Woodlawn station, trains run on a third rail, while in most of Westchester and Connecticut, they use the overhead wire. These additional configurations on the trains drive up costs. The state of Connecticut will cover 65% of the expense of buying the trains, Metro North Railroad the additional 35%. Train manufacturers have been asked to send in their proposals for building these trains, and these proposals are due by April 13th. By the end of 2006, the bid will be awarded, and the first new trains are expected at the end of 2008. Metro North is asking for trains that have sealed traction motors and electric systems that are housed inside the car. This will make sure that they are not affected by bad weather. The cars will have large, brighter windows, headrests will be available at all seats, and the railroad is also finally trying to resolve the issue of odors coming from the train's restrooms. One major advantage that the new trains will have when compared to the current model is that they will be 6 inches wider. The new M8 trains will be wider because they will be solely used on the New Haven line. 6 inches will be added to the width of these trains. The new cars will have about 100 seats. The old cars had 125 seats. To still have enough seats on the train cars, will be added on each train. 3 companies are likely to bid for the contract: Bombardier, they were the builders of the M7, Kawasaki, and Siemens.
And from the rails to the skies, we've reported on local efforts to keep the skies quiet as the FAA discusses flight pattern changes. The Quiet Skies Committee is trying to raise about $100,000 to cover costs of a consultant lawyer to represent our localities and protect the airspace from noisier and more travel. The Village of Larchmont committed $15,000, and just recently the Village of Mamaroneck agreed to also put up $15,000. The town of Mamaroneck will be tackling this issue at its meeting on April 5th at 8:15 p.m. So if you want to be heard, this is your chance. If you can't be there, you can contact the supervisor's office in advance at 381-7805 or by email at townsupervisor@townofmamaroneck.org.
Will you be affected by changes in Medicare eligibility? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch has details.
The Journal News broke some bad news last week about Medicare. Come next January, seniors whose income exceeds $80,000 a year will have to pay higher premiums for Part B. That covers doctor bills. Congresswoman Nita Lowey is among those who fear that more and more seniors will be affected. It's the first time in Medicare's 40-year history, say critics, that there will be a means test for benefits. The harshest critic is Lois Steinberg, who directs the Westchester program of the Medicare Rights Center. President Bush, she says, and the Republican-controlled Congress are weakening Medicare. Lowey told a group of seniors in Armonk last week that she plans to introduce a bill to eliminate the means testing for Medicare Part B. She said she has several sponsors in the House, but does not have a sponsor yet in the Senate. This is not the first time Congress has attempted to introduce means testing to Medicare. In 1988, Congress passed a Medicare drug benefit that called for high-income seniors to pay steeper premiums than those with lower incomes. The law triggered a furor that led Congress to repeal the bill. Reporting for Larchmont Community News, I'm Mike Witt.
Many of you may remember the January 2002 murder of Mamaroneck resident Carlos Baradas in Norwalk, Connecticut. 2 years later, following a joint investigation by Norwalk and Mamaroneck police, Solomon Boyd, also of Mamaroneck, was arrested and charged with the murder. Since both the victim and the suspect were Mamaroneck residents, much of the investigation and arrest were done in Mamaroneck by police with the help of residents. In March this year, Boyd was convicted of the murder of Baradas and faces a prison term of 25 years to life. He'll be sentenced on May 16th.
Westchester County is watching out for gangs. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Rory Roth has more.
With the statistically growing number of involvement and participation of gangs in the U.S., Westchester County is ready to intervene and make sure their kids don't become a growing number along with these statistics. On April 4th, a conference for law enforcement, school officials, and others who deal with youth and gang prevention will be held. County Executive Andy Spano and District Attorney Janet DeFiore will host an all-day summit to share information and strategies. The summit will be held at the Westchester County Center in White Plains at 8:30 a.m. The summit is free, but advanced registration is required. Registration forms are made available at www.westchestergov.com/gangprevention. Spano was quoted by stating his concerns with the issue of gangs and gang prevention. Quote, recent local reports of increases in teen violence, including bullying, gangs, and gang-like activities, are posing new challenges for law enforcement, educators, and other professionals who work with youth in Westchester. Our approach is aimed at both prevention and enforcement. Through work of the county's Youth Bureau and the Departments of Probation, Correction, and Public Safety, we want to deter kids from joining gangs and give those who want to leave a gang help in doing so. But to those who are in gangs and intimidate others, we want to send the message loud and clear that you will be dealt with harshly and arrested and prosecuted by the DA if there is a crime, end quote. I was able to have an over-the-phone interview with my friend and councilwoman of Mamaroneck, Nancy Seligson. I had asked her if she thought that the all-day summit was necessary for the Larchmont Mamaroneck community. In response, she said, groups of kids might not exactly be considered a gang, but may function close to one. We need to be educated to the dynamics of their activities so we can try and steer them away from inappropriate behavior. This serves crucial to middle school kids because this is when their social circles will start forming. The main goal of the summit is for young adults to become productive members of society and not criminal justice statistics. The summit will also provide information with the reasons why there is such an attraction to gangs and early warning signs of involvement or activities. There will be a keynote address by Greg Owens, a licensed social worker with the Office of Strategic Planning and Policy Development of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Among things that will be discussed will be national gang trends, keeping the faith, bullying prevention, the criminal mind, and the gangster. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Rory Roth.
Triple axles for charity. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel glides in with the story.
Who says you can't make a difference in this world? A few weeks ago, we reported a story about two amazing local high school figure skaters trying to make a difference for AIDS in Africa by producing an ice show called Blades Against AIDS. And I'm happy to report they far surpassed monetary expectations. Elizabeth Cruikshank, a senior at Mamaroneck High School, who created the first event last year, teamed up with Jenny Bloom, a sophomore at Scarsdale High School, to put on an ice show that they hope will keep crowds entertained and the charitable money coming in for years to come. Both amateur and Olympic figure skaters dazzled the crowds to raise money for the Save the Children's AIDS Fund in Africa. The event drew about 300 people to the Hommocks ice rink and raised more than $15,000, nearly twice as much as last year, and they exceeded their target of $10,000. Cruikshank wanted to contribute to the cause after reading about the Africa AIDS epidemic in the newspaper. And this year, Jenny Bloom jumped on board after a family trip to South Africa allowed her to experience firsthand. Now that Cruikshank is graduating, the torch will be passed on to Jenny Bloom to keep the show alive and the contributions flowing. Thanks for the amazing efforts, ladies. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch reports on a growing local population.
Last week we reported on the county's newest efforts to help restore the health of Long Island Sound. And now we learn the good news that researchers are seeing more seals in the Sound, a sure sign of healthier water. The Journal News reports that you can actually spot seals on the rocks off Orchard Beach with a telescope. That's just what volunteers and biologists were doing there last week, part of a comprehensive survey of the North Atlantic coast of pinnipeds, the scientific name for carnivorous aquatic animals that have flippers. The volunteers are scanning the shore, flying overhead, and monitoring cameras to log the number of seals they spot from Massachusetts to the middle of New Jersey, including Long Island Sound. This is high time for the animals, which migrate from colder waters off Maine or Canada. Biologists see evidence that more seals are wintering in, having their pups in the waters off Connecticut or Rhode Island, a phenomenon unseen in previous years. Collecting all this information could help by, for instance, showing rescuers cleaning up an oil spill where the animals are likely to be, and helping aquariums and other organizations that rehabilitate seals to project how many they will have to save. Knowing areas that seals frequent can also help communities looking to develop their waterfront areas to do so with more sensitivity toward these animals. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
Get started saving. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel banks this story.
Good evening, George Evans. I'm so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. George, being a real estate specialist, one of the things that I've noticed is younger and younger people want to realize the quote-unquote American dream of owning their own home. As a specialist, can you give us some information as to what steps a young person would need to take now in the name of buying their own home?
Definitely. I would say once they turn 18 and they're able to sign checks or anything, go to a bank, get a secured credit card.
What is a secured credit card?
A secured credit card is a credit card you pay up front into a savings with the bank, let's say $500, and they give you a credit card while they're holding the money that you can use up to $500 max as your credit limit.
So that's good for a one step of
That's
establishing.
how you're going to start building your credit.
And what would be the next important step to take?
Well, that's just one step. There's many steps inside that to raise your credit.
Right.
To having multiple credit cards, car loans, different type of personal loans, and then it builds it. And from there, I'd say you'd want to go find a mortgage broker.
I see.
In your area.
And another thing, as we were talking all afternoon about this, is understanding the place that is most beneficial for your lifestyle, such as near where you work, go to school, your family, things, an area that you know. And again, the mortgage broker would be the person to go to on that.
Yeah, because you want to get an idea of what you can get. Of course, you have to, you know, you're gonna want to show them your proof of income, how much you make, and then you're going to want to decide what can you really afford.
So let's recap those three things: a good credit rating, where you want to be, and what you can afford.
Yes.
And what would you like to add to that?
Well, once you figure that out, I mean, of course, there's so much more. And you would, you know, find your area. Once you've talked to the broker, the mortgage broker, and you figured out what you can afford, you find out, get your area that you like to live. And you can, hopefully you can afford. And then you have to go out and speak with realtors, and there's a whole different process on trying to find a place.
Well, George, I'm sure when you make this process into a reality for your customers, they're very happy to work with you. You're terrific at what you do, and I hope you come back to speak with us more on real estate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And a sure sign of spring coming, the town of Mamaronec's satellite office reopens April 3rd. The office opened last fall, was quite successful. It's located at the corner of Myrtle Boulevard and Chatsworth Avenue near the train station.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record each show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC TV, Mamaroneck Town Center, 740 West Boston Post Road, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next week. Comics Middle School shaken by sex charges against teacher.
Quiet Skies gets tri-municipal support.
New guard in Village of Larchmont tackles the budget.
Plans for rails to the house that Roth built.
Some school board candidates are announced.
And how you can celebrate with the Mamaroneck Schools Foundation. Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. A Homix Middle School music teacher has been charged with 6 counts of child endangerment and 2 counts of statutory rape. The rape charges do not involve a Homix student, but rather a 16-year-old Connecticut resident who came forward after hearing of the child endangerment allegations. Now, those charges came about following an interview of students by school officials. The district notified the Town of Mamaroneck Police Department and the New York State Commissioner of Education as required by law, according to Homix principal Dr. Seth Weitzman. Omar Rodriguez, a Village of Mamaroneck resident, was arrested April 7th and charged with 6 counts of child endangerment. Following arraignment, he posted bail and was released from jail. Mamaroneck Schools administratively reassigned Rodriguez out of the classroom. Apparently, following these events, a 16-year-old girl who knows Rodriguez from a church choir he conducts came forward and alleged that she had had sex with Rodriguez in December 2005 and February of this year at his Mamaroneck apartment. He was rearrested on April 10th and charged with 2 counts of statutory or third-degree rape, a felony. Bail was set at $150,000 cash or $1 million bond, which left Rodriguez in jail. On April 14th, Rodriguez's attorney was successful in getting bail reduced to $100,000 cash or bond. At the hearing, according to the Journal News, Westchester County Prosecutor Christine Hatfield said that 2 additional victims had been found and that there may be more charges. As of today, Village of Mamaroneck Police Lieutenant Gaffney was not aware of additional charges being filed, but said that the matter is still under investigation and has been transferred to the county. As for the Mamaroneck schools, they insist that this matter was properly handled, despite some reported parental claims that students should not have been interviewed without prior parental notification. Mamaroneck School's Public Information Officer Joan Rosen said that the district followed school policy, conducting an immediate initial investigation followed by phone calls to the parents. Any other method would delay the response. The schools have made counselors available to students and parents, including during one of the recent vacation days. Parents I spoke to were upset by the events and hoped it wasn't true. Rodriguez was a very popular teacher in the district since 2002, who received tenure in 2005, and of course, we'll keep you posted.
Larchmont Village Board has taken up work under the leadership of the new mayor, Liz Feld. Deputy Mayor is Marleen Kolbert. Trustees are Ann McAndrews, Jim Milstein, and Mike Wiener. Village Clerk is Eileen Finn, and Village Attorney is Jim Stout. Mayor Feld, Kolbert, and Milstein ran together as the coalition party, and the village is now governed by a mayor who is a member of the Republican Party and deputy mayor who is a Democrat. One of the first issues that the new board had to deal with is the review of the proposed budget. The budget for 2006-2007 has to be adopted by the end of April. The current budget proposal includes an 8.9% tax hike, but it is likely that cuts will be made during the discussion of the budget. Before the meeting, Mayor Feld described the trustees as a distinguished group with talents and expertise that were balanced and complementary. It appears that the mayor plans to tap into the expertise by appointing each trustee as liaison to related committees. Trustee Mike Wiener, a capacity planner with Bank of America, will be liaison to the Infrastructure and Emergency Preparedness Committees. Jim Milstein, an investment banker, will work with the Finance Committee. Trustees Kolbert and McAndrew were appointed to their existing posts.
3 positions, 3 candidates for Mamaroneck School Board, and all have been endorsed by the committee for the selection of school board nominees. The candidates seeking election are newcomers Robin Nichinsky and Michael Jacobson, and incumbent Lynette Say, who's seeking re-election for her 2nd term. Nichinsky is a criminal appellate attorney working part-time who previously served as the co-president of the PTA at Central School, member of the school board's Task Force on Minority Achievement, and on the Mamaroneck High School and Hommox PTA executive committees. All of her children graduated from Central School. She has 1 in college, 1 at Mamaroneck High School, and 1 at Hommox. Jacobson's a managing director at Ixis Capital Markets and holds an MBA. He's been a board member of Larchmont Mamaroneck Little League for 7 years, 3 of them on the executive committee. He's also a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee, Financial Advisory Committee, the Larchmont Board of Architectural Review, and the High School Athletic Advisory Council. He has 2 sons at Mamaroneck High School who went through the Chatsworth and Hommox schools. And Say, who currently serves on the board and is the board's liaison to the Citizen Financial Advisory Committee, also holds an MBA. She had been a co-president at Murray Avenue School, which both of her sons attended, and has been involved in both the Hommox and Mamaroneck High School PTAs, which her boys presently attend. According to the district clerk, no other potential candidates have filed petitions to run for trustee. For more information on the candidates, you can watch the Meet the Candidates show on this station. The viewing schedule can be found at www.lmc-tv.org. Now, if elected, the makeup of the school board will change slightly. 1 fewer lawyer to 4 down from 5, and 1 more MBA to 2, plus 1 educator. All 4 elementary school districts will continue to be represented, and the 5-2 female majority will remain. The election will be held May 16th, the same day as the budget vote.
We've already talked about the Quiet Skies campaign on this program. It's part of a review of a proposed redesign of the airspace over Larchmont and Mamaroneck. The airspace is primarily used for approaches to LaGuardia Airport. The village of Larchmont some time ago had already made a contribution of $15,000 to the Quiet Skies campaign, and it was followed by the village of Mamaroneck that also authorized financial support for this project. The town of Mamaroneck has now decided to also authorize $15,000, and the amount will be split in $10,000 for an aviation consultant and $5,000 for an aviation legal consultant. The split of the cost is similar to the one approved by the two villages. The consultant will be Williams Aviation Associates, and the legal consultation will be done by aviation lawyer Barbara Lichman. They will submit the review of a proposed redesign of the airspace by the deadline of the Federal Aviation Authority, which is June 1. Total amount of money that will be available for this project is going to be $90,000, as the $45,000 that the two villages and the town are now providing will be matched with private funding.
In other school news, the Mamaroneck School Board approved with changes the 2006-07 school budget proposed by first-year Superintendent Paul Freed in the amount of $130,874,140. This is a 7.86% increase over last year's budget, with a tax increase of approximately 7.83%. Details of the budget will be available shortly on the district website at www.mamkschools.org and at school offices. And remember, the vote is Tuesday, May 16th at your neighborhood elementary schools from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also, the school board announced the appointment of new assistant principals for Chatsworth and Mamaroneck Avenue schools, effective this July 1st. Paula Marin will be the new assistant principal of Chatsworth. She's currently staff developer and teacher at the Oceanside School District on Long Island. At Mamaroneck Avenue School, the new assistant principal is homegrown Alice Borcella, who attended Murray Avenue School, Hommocks, and graduated from Mamaroneck High School. She has been the assistant principal at PS 189 in New York City for the past 6 years, and before that was a teacher in New York City for 12 years. Welcome to the district.
A dream may come true for local Yankees fans. Take the train to the game. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch pitches this one.
The Journal News reports that Yankee fans in our area are hoping to see a Metro North train station at the new Yankee Stadium, which is going to be built across from the team's historic home. Endorsing the idea are Governor George Pataki, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and elected officials representing the Bronx neighborhood in which the stadium will be built. For years, the railroad has had a plan kicking around for a stadium station. Pataki and Bloomberg asked the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Board recently to quickly develop and present a plan at the board's April 26th meeting and to vote to fund the project through the authority's capital plan. The MTA says it will present a plan in the coming weeks. Gene Russianoff, the staff lawyer for NYPIRG Strap Hangers campaign, likes the idea but questions the cost and how it could be paid for. He also wants to know if the Yankees would contribute anything to create the station, or will it be just another subsidy, he asks, and if parking would be reduced if a station is built. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
News of a Columbus Park cleanup, and it has nothing to do with day laborers. But Linda Fava of the Washingtonville Neighborhood Program is determined to polish this jewel of a park and make it shine. Fava's organizing a Mamaroneck Village River cleanup on April 29th to clean up the Mamaroneck and Sheldrake rivers that wend through the park. They're looking for volunteers and donations of tools like shovels and rakes. So far, Allstate Insurance and Dunkin' Donuts have expressed interest in helping out with supplies, but more sponsors are welcome. To volunteer or for more info or to donate, contact Linda Fava at lmfava@yahoo.com or call 698-6174.
The Americans with Disabilities Act became law many years ago, but many communities are still coping with the effects that it has. One of the main issues for communities is rebuilding of sidewalks and creating curb cuts at intersections to allow wheelchair users to navigate across the street by using the cuts in the curb. The village of Mamaroneck recently set aside an extra $20,000 towards a fund for complying with the Americans with Disabilities Act. In many parts of the suburbs, homeowners maintain the sidewalks, and they are required to make all necessary repairs. In the village of Mamaroneck, most of the sidewalks were built long before the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed. And therefore, the village set up this fund to assist homeowners when they want to repair sidewalks and bring them into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. According to village manager Leonard Verastro, as quoted in the Journal News, if a homeowner wants to fund a sidewalk repair, the village will fund 50% of it, end of quote. The cost of redoing a 50-foot sidewalk is about $1,500. If you need to redo your sidewalk, it may be a good idea to do this in cooperation with Mamaroneck Village.
Just say yes or YES on the web for a job. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch has more.
The Youth Employment Service of Larchmont and Mamaroneck is creating a new website to help local students get part-time jobs. With an $11,000 contribution from the Mamaroneck Schools Foundation, the nonprofit employment service will purchase some equipment, 2 desktop computers, software, a new printer, plus they'll train staff to help the students use the site. When it's ready, the site, which still needs a catchy name, will connect pre-screened local employers to students who are looking for babysitting, snow shoveling, retail, and other temporary jobs. YES hopes that the site will go live by the end of December. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
Some time ago, we reported on a former accountant who had offices in Mamaroneck Village and in Harrison and had been charged with stealing over $750,000 from his clients. Alan Russo has now been found guilty and will serve 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison for his crime. He was also ordered to pay back the full amount of the funds that he stole. His sentence was based on his guilty plea to second-degree grand larceny and first-degree scheming in February of this year.
The Mamaroneck Schools Foundation will be celebrating and fundraising, and you can too. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch tells how you can get involved.
The Mamaroneck Schools Foundation will honor its founders at a gala fundraiser Saturday, May 13th at the Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club. Some 10 years ago, Jerry Goldman and a group of citizens, encouraged by Mamaroneck School Superintendent Mary Ann Mays, began investigating what was then a new concept, creating a private foundation to raise money and encourage innovative programs enriching the public school education. In its first year, the original 21 founding members awarded $67,000 to 6 programs, including new equipment for the planetarium at the Hommocks. Since then, the foundation board and its advisory board have grown to more than 60 members, and they've awarded almost $1.5 million to 170 different projects. Most recently, $288,000 was awarded in 29 separate grants that impact students in each of the district's 6 schools. The May 13th Gala is a fundraiser, and there will be silent and live auctions. Among this year's hot items, 2 week-long passes to the sold-out U.S. Golf Championship at Wingfoot in June, Madison Square Garden suite for a Knicks or Rangers game, MTV TRL tickets on a backstage tour with VJ Damian Fay, and much more. State Assemblyman George Latimer will be the auctioneer, and high school musicians will perform. The gala is open to the entire community. If you haven't gotten your invitation, you can get one by calling the Mamaroneck Schools Foundation. Their office number is 698-9079. That's 698-9079. Organizers do ask that you RSVP quickly. They say the event usually sells out. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, Mamaroneck Town Center, 740 West Boston Post Road, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Wimmer.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next week. Details on the proposed school budget.
More on the Quiet Skies campaign.
And funding for Homick's Pool renovations.
Special awards for special faculty.
And a special honor for a special former student.
And ideas for Mother's Day gifts. Those stories and more are coming up on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Wimmer.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. Details on the proposed 2006-07 Mamaroneck school budget. As reported last week, the school board has approved a budget of $103,874,140 with a spending increase of 7.86% and a tax increase of 7.83%. The public vote will be held on May 16th. The district reports that mandatory increases resulted in a spending increase of nearly 8.25%. These required items include employee benefit costs, capital projects, special education costs mandated by state law, contractual salary step increases, and compliance with New York State Comptroller Hevesey's regulations on financial controls. In addition, an increased district enrollment of more than 50 students necessitates additional staffing. The district says that it more than offset these hikes with savings in the areas of staff development, technology, the use of consultants, and a slight reduction in the number of teacher assistants and aides. Savings also are expected from the retirement of highly paid district employees. Some nearby school districts report lower tax hikes, Portchester with under 4%, Scarsdale under 5%, Rhinebeck at 4.5%, and Harrison at 5.2%. When questioned about this, Joan Rosen, the public information officer for the district, said it's important to look at both tax and spending increase numbers because in these instances, the spending increase is higher, generally between 6.5% and 7.5%, but is offset for other things. For example, more state aid for Portchester and higher property tax revenues for Scarsdale. Ms. Rosen then points out that Mamaroneck's tax increases are within the median for districts in the county, and many districts have higher increases, such as White Plains, Pelham, New Rochelle, Edgemont, Dobbs Ferry, Blind Brook, and Ardsley. Copies of the budget are available in the superintendent's office and for review at elementary schools. Remember, the budget vote is May 16th.
Last week we reported on the Quiet Skies Committee and the fact that the 3 municipalities in our viewing area have each allocated $15,000 towards this committee. The committee is reviewing plans by the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, that is in the process of redesigning the airspace over our area. The residents who started the Quiet Skies Committee especially are concerned over the air traffic on approach to LaGuardia Airport. One of the runways is on a direct line from Larchmont. The committee has hired an aviation expert and also an aviation lawyer to look into the proposals by the FAA. The new design of the airspace over the metropolitan area has more to do with the introduction of new technology and of reducing delays that occur at the major airports on rush hour than with the reduction of noise. With the hiring of the experts, Quiet Skies wants to make sure that the review of the new flight patterns is done by experts who know their business and who can suggest workable alternatives.
The pool gets bigger. Well, not the actual swimming pool, but the pool of funds for renovation of the Hommocks Pool. At the April 19th Town of Mamaroneck board meeting, the board authorized a resolution to borrow $1.1 million for its share of the renovation. Last year, the town joined with the Mamaroneck School District to renovate the pool for a total of $6.85 million. It began last September, and the pool is scheduled to reopen this June 24th. Initially, the agreement called for a $900,000 contribution from the town, but the board since agreed to spend an additional $200,000 for new lockers and the application of new epoxy finishes to the locker room and floors.
The Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, recently released an analysis of its special holiday fare bonus program. The program was budgeted at $50 million last winter. During the period of Thanksgiving to January 2nd of this year, fare discounts were available to users of the MTA system. According to the MTA, the program came in under budget and cost the agency about $46 million. However, the plan of the MTA to get new customers or change the behavior of existing customers apparently did not happen. The customers who took advantage of the reduced fares were obviously very happy, but the discounted fares for the holiday apparently had not been announced early enough for all potential customers to take advantage of them. In addition, the 3-day strike of the New York City transit workers kept people from using subways and buses. It's currently not clear whether the MTA is going to offer a similar program again over this year's holiday period. An amount of $50 million, however, is budgeted for that period. They indicate that the same program or a similar program might be implemented again, and we will keep you posted on that. And for those Sound Shore residents who use New York City's subways and buses, here's an update on the contract talks between the MTA and the Transit Workers Union. While its president, Roger Toussaint, was in jail for the illegal strike, the MTA board did not vote on the contract that the union has ratified during a second vote earlier in April. The MTA has requested binding arbitration, which the union doesn't want. However, the MTA has also said that it's still open for further talks.
As the Mamaroneck Public Library contemplates its size and role in the 21st century, Mamaroneck Village trustee Bill Panessa gets involved in the process. He came in to talk about the future of the library and other issues facing the village. So, I know there are big plans for the Mamaroneck Public Library. Why don't you tell us what's going on?
Be glad to. I've been invited by the mayor and with the library board to be the liaison for the village to discuss and to help them along the process. But they've really done yeoman's work. They've gone to a design phase. They've done an interior study. They're going to reach out to the residents of Mamaroneck by phone as well as by mail, and they're also going to invite people to participate at the library with the plans as they're presented. The funding will come partially from the village and hopefully, and I'm sure it will, come from many donations. We have a great village and a lot of people want this. It's an investment not only in the library but in our future as village residents.
And it's an expansion physically as well as in terms of the interior, you know,
exactly.
what's available.
The library, I didn't realize it. I mean, I go back to the children's room in the basement, and it's still there. But there's a rock that says it was built in 1928. And the physical building did go through a rehab in, I think, 75 or so, and then they purchased a piece of property next to it, knocked the building down, and came to a grinding halt. They are now at a point where they are at capacity. I believe they do something like 1,000 transactions. That's maybe an hour might sound a lot, but I know they do an awful lot of transactions. They do CDs, they do cassettes, they have books that are read to people who can't, or are blind or can't read or whatever. They have multi-language films. They have an awful lot to offer, periodicals. So the renovation will address not only the children and the school children and the adults, but also seniors, which is a gathering place, and they're offering that kind of atmosphere.
And they have events there as well.
Oh yes, they do, quite a bit. Movies, Children's Day, they have an awful lot going on. And to their credit, even in the small space they have a great group of people working there, which I've had the privilege to meet. And
what's the timetable for this?
well, I was just going to get to that. I'm kind of getting in while the train's already pulled out of the station, but they've really helped me to learn what they're doing and how far they've gone. I think we're probably talking to the village residents during the summer, and then trying to come to a resolve and a kickoff in the fall.
Who or what should people do if they want to get involved?
Well, certainly they can reach out to the library, where we will be putting plans up and be talking about it. It's really just getting to that stage where the information will be critical and the input very important for all the residents, regardless of age. And then certainly the seniors who go there quite a bit, and the children who are brought by their teachers or parents. Right. So everyone will have some say in it. And as I said, there will also be a survey being done by a group to reach out to see what specifically they'd like to do.
Okay, now as long as you're here, I got to ask you about some other stuff going on in the village of Mamaroneck. Firehouse.
Firehouse, thanks. That's one of my pet projects. I'm the liaison. I've been with them for 5 years, and they're a great bunch of guys, as we all know. We have 5 firehouses in the village of Mamaroneck. We're now going down to 4. Hook and Ladder will be closed, and they'll be joining Mamuro. And that's on Palmer Avenue, near Sound Federal and New York Sports Club. We purchased the land behind the firehouse and adjoining, and Rickett Lock just moved down the street, so they're still here. And what we're looking to do is this summer, knock down Mamuro and start to build a 2-company, Hook and Ladder and Mamuro Firehouse. That's a project that'll come before the board. We just, as a matter of fact, passed our budget by taking the $800,000 and putting it into a 20-year note as opposed to a 1-year ban. So we're putting that all aside just for the firehouse, so we're not really impacting the residents of the village all in one shot.
Okay, and I understand that there's some more sort of day laborer news.
Well, a short comment on that. We feel, and the mayor and I and the whole board really feel that we've done the right thing. And speaking for at least for Tony, myself, and Joe. And the residents of the village have gotten back to us. Today we were served with a lawsuit by the Puerto Rican Civil Rights Union, I guess, or whatever. But anyway, the point of it is that they want to make sure that the people are being treated fairly, which we feel we are. They want to make sure that they're able to gain employment, which we feel they should be able to. So really, we're just going to look to enforce the laws and make sure that everyone in the village has a fair shake, as well as that no one is taken advantage of. And that's also important. And we're going to work together with the Hispanic Resource Center.
And I assume you're going to respond to the lawsuit and protect yourselves as...
Yeah, honestly, I think it has to be proven that we're doing the wrong thing. And as I've said many times, I was elected to invoke the laws of the village of Mamaroneck, the Constitution of the United States, and the laws of the state of New York. And that's all we're trying to do. Any resident of the village of Mamaroneck who's been harmed by what we're doing, I offer them to come to me and I will correct it.
In this lawsuit, are they seeking any kind of temporary injunctive relief?
They would like us to open up Columbus Park again.
There's not a motion for a restraining order?
That's a little bit beyond how much I know. But okay. I see you're wise in the legal terms.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. I hope you'll come back and keep us posted on
the
goings on.
Thanks, Maura. Good seeing you. Thank you very much.
Unemployment in Westchester County continues to stay at a fairly low level. For the month of March, an unemployment rate of 4.1% was recorded. It is the same rate as in March of 2005. The unemployment rate in Westchester County is significantly lower than the one of New York City, which is 5.5%, and statewide the rate is 5.0%. Just for a comparison, in Rockland County, the unemployment rate is 3.9% for March 2006, and Putnam County is at 3.7%. Overall, in the 3 counties, 7,200 jobs were added when compared to March of last year. 1,700 of those jobs were in the professional and business services sector. Educational and health services added another 1,600 jobs. During the same period, 800 jobs were lost in leisure and hospitality employment, and 600 manufacturing jobs disappeared.
With gas prices over $3 a gallon, finding the lowest price nearby is getting even more important. The Westchester County website can help you find it. Go to www.westchestergov.com and click on the link to the best gas prices. For your information now, the site does report a number of stations selling regular gas for just under $3 a gallon. The lowest is $2.95, but none in Larchmont, Mamaroneck, or Ryeneck. The lowest price here is actually just over the Ryeneck border in Rye at the Getty at 1 Boston Post Road, which is $2.999 per gallon for full service. Other local stations just over $3 at $3.039 per gallon are the mobile stations in Mamaroneck on Palmer Avenue and Boston Post Road. And how do our residents feel about this? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel took to the streets to find out.
And I'm here at the Mamaroneck train station, and I am speaking with a commuter who just came off the train. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
You're very welcome.
I wanted to find out, in light of gasoline prices going up so high, what are you doing to cope with the situation?
I'm walking more and I'm riding my bicycle more.
Those are good suggestions. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And now we're speaking with?
Chuck Guadagnolo.
And Chuck, what are you doing in regards to coping with the rise in gas prices?
I carpool, I walk more, and that's just about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
And I'm speaking with?
Ed Gallagher.
Mr. Gallagher, I see you have a young lady here, and in order for her to drive safely, since we know the gas prices are going up, what do you do in the name of coping with that?
There's really no coping. We pay the price, and that's really about it. Want to say hi?
No, really, a lot of us do have to pay the price, and that is certainly one way of looking at it.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do right now. Just curious to see how much the gas companies have benefited from the American people basically getting raped at the pump. That's what I'm very curious about. Yes. And will the government actually follow through on heavy taxation, or it's more nonsense?
I understand. Thank you very much for your time. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel. Drive carefully.
Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Rory Roth tells us of a federal program getting support from the town of Mamaroneck.
Westchester County communities have been the recipients of over $152 million in community development block grants since 1976, according to County Executive Andrew Spano. Recently, town board members voted to sign a resolution in which members of Congress were urged to reinstate these grants. The National Association of Counties, along with other associations, have also decided to sign similar resolutions. The new sidewalk and streetlights in Washington Square and Dillon Park are just two examples of local funded projects. Councilwoman Nancy Seligson was quoted by saying in the Larchmont Gazette, "This is one federal program that works." I'm Rory Roth, reporting with your Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
A relative of the Kemper Memorial donors speaks. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch has more.
One of the original donors of the Richard Kemper Park spoke recently at the old schoolhouse down at Harbor Island. Jean Kemper Hoffman addressed a group of people gathered there by the historical societies in Mamaroneck and Larchmont. Reportedly, it was a large turnout. The old 1816 schoolhouse was bursting at the seams. Ms. Hoffman spoke about the events surrounding her family's creation of the park, a memorial to her brother, as well as others from Larchmont and Mamaroneck who lost their lives in World War II. The Kemper family donated the land and the memorial in 1947 to the Mamaroneck School District. She emphasized the importance of keeping the park intact, especially the grove of white pines, trees planted to be living symbols of the lives lost. There's also a winding walkway, a granite benches, and the central monument inscribed with 99 names. She also quoted from a letter sent to her father by Hoyt Smith, then junior high school principal, who knew many of those who had died. In the letter, the principal thanked the Kemper family for converting, as he put it, an unsightly area into a beautiful park which will be hallowed ground for all time. Other supporters of keeping the park as it is also spoke. Paul Cantor, nephew of Richard Kemper, passed out a prepared packet that included excerpts from Kemper's letters home. The last words the family heard from Richard were, "Goodbye for now and lots of love." The Kemper Memorial Park Preservation Fund has been invited to march with the American Legion Post 90 in the Village of Mamaronec's Memorial Day Parade on Tuesday, May 30th. Anyone who wants to march along should assemble at Mamaroneck Avenue School at 6:30 in the evening. Jan Northrup contributed to this report. I'm Mike Witch for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Special awards for special ed. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Wendy Deshay teaches us.
Wednesday night, the SEPTA Awards took place at the Homex Library, awarding 13 faculty grants. The Special Education PTA for the Mamaroneck School District kicked off the evening by inviting parents to hear special educator and district consultant Susan Young explain what sensory integration dysfunction is and how to help your child manage it. The evening then turned to Diane Nelson, the Faculty Grants Chair, announcing the 13 Faculty Grants recipients, followed by a film on how last year's grants were used in our schools. SEPTA raises funds through members' dues and fundraising events. The fundraising supports several programs open to the entire school district as well as some outside the districts. They are all of interest to parents and educators, and funds are also given to small awards for teachers and other faculty. Grants awarded Wednesday night were based on funds raised in the 2005 and 6 seasons, totaling a whopping $4,200. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Wendy Deshay.
Could the future Donald Trump be at Mamaroneck High School? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch gives us the business.
The future business leaders of America, all who happen to be students at MHS, won a record 20 trophies at the State Leadership Conference early last month at the Nevele Resort in Ellenville. 28 members of the school's FBLA chapter competed in various chapter, team, and individual events. In addition, 2 were elected as state officers. Rosie Weisberg was elected state reporter. She'll be publishing the New York State FBLA Express. Adam Reed was voted District 3S Vice President. He'll be presiding over all district meetings in Westchester and Rockland counties. The MHS team took 2nd place as Chapter of the Year, 3rd place for Local Chapter Annual Business Report, 3rd place for their American Enterprise Project, and they came in 2nd for their Community Service Project. 2 of the chapter's teams won 1st place. The multimedia team, Carolina Kupferman, Steffi Duarte, Tony Lloyd Davies, and the business and ethics team, Catherine Kahn, Steffi Duarte, and Carolina Kupferman. Eugene Belilovsky took 1st place for website development, and voted outstanding new member was Jeff DeBronyi. Those who won 1st or 2nd place in their competitions, as well as the newly elected state officers, are eligible to represent New York State at the National Leadership Conference at the end of June in Nashville, Tennessee. As well, they can compete in their respective contests. And those folks will be Catherine Kahn, Carolina Kupferman, Tony Lloyd Davies, Steffi Duarte, Eugene Belilovsky, Adam Reed, Rosie Weisberg, Elias Everett, and Tommy Fajaco. By the way, Tommy is the Eastern Region Vice President this school year. He'll be presiding at the Eastern Region meeting. Congratulations to these fine students and to their longtime advisor, Eileen Multari. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
And Mamaroneck High School students honored a classmate with the dedication of a special library collection. No, not a present student, but a member of the class of 1949. It honored Dr. Irving Reed, who passed away in 2000, who was a musician, a physician, and an African American. The collection, which is displayed in 2 special new bookcases, is reflective of his life and interests. Classmates from 1949 were on hand to honor his life and the extraordinary person he was. Dr. Reed grew up in Mamaroneck at Mamaroneck High School. He excelled in both academics and social life. He was a member of the National Honor Society and Student Council. He served as class president for 3 years. He was also a member of the Glee Club and the orchestra and band. He attended Hamilton College, where he also was very active in music and school government. In 1952, Life magazine ran a feature on him as the all-around man. He attended University of Pennsylvania's dental school for his dental degree and practiced dentistry in New York City while continuing to pursue his passion for music. A lovely honor for a lovely man.
And talk about honoring special people, Mother's Day is coming up. Here with some special gift ideas is Liz Lee from Saks Fifth Avenue in Greenwich. So Liz, what am I getting for Mother's Day? No, I mean, what are we getting, Mom, for Mother's Day?
Well, you know, getting Mother's Day gifts are so hard because there's so many things to choose from, and often it's a daunting task to figure out what you can get your mom or your wife or your grandmother. And a good thing to start with is this wonderful. This is a great package from Saks Fifth Avenue. It's called Victor and Rolf.
It's a pretty box.
It's a pretty box, and it's shaped like a little bit like a hand grenade, I think. But
beautiful bottle.
It's a collection of really tropical fragrances that are very sort of unusually put together, and just take a scent. But this is really
you just spray the air.
Kind of divine. And this is certainly a
new. That's lovely. And I know Amy, one of our reporters, really liked it a lot as well.
This is a new fragrance, and it just there's a lot of. I think whoever you're buying this for will be thrilled with that. You can never go wrong with these wonderful candles from Jo Malone. This is a grapefruit candle. A lot of her scents are very much citrus oriented, and you can put this in the bathroom, or you can put it for a dinner party. But it really does have a wonderful aroma for the whole house.
And again, very pretty, nice display.
And you can't make a mistake with this one. Now, if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous,
okay,
and what mom doesn't wear jeans, because we all wear jeans. I think everybody does. So I figure if you can take the chance, go get a pair out of her closet if you want to.
So that you don't buy your size 6 mom a size 12?
Yes, right.
Okay.
I would say bring a pair, go into your mom's closet, find a pair for her jeans to get a size sense.
Okay.
These are Ela Tahari, and they're great because the rise isn't too low. There's so many low jeans that show
so that's
too
mom
much.
Figure friendly.
It's a little bit, yes. Yeah. And then I've added this belt from Prada, which gives it a little bit more punch. There's this piece too is this is sort of.
Let me help you.
Okay, that's great. So if you have a pair of blue jeans, you can take this is from Tahari.
Right, so if you want to go from beyond just a pair of jeans or a belt, you can take it to a bigger outfit.
Well, this is something you can certainly use, for any kind of, you can go out to dinner with this. Right. Jeans are happening, that's what they do.
Right.
Then you can add this little piece too, if you can just help me grab this part.
Sure, we've got this little jacket.
And then the jacket can certainly go on top of that. We can all figure out that works well. And you're not way out there, and it's certainly something that she can use if she's so inclined to.
Okay.
But certainly the belt can go on top of that. So that's one idea.
And I take it that if someone were to come into Saks, someone there could help them put together an outfit.
Oh, sure.
But bringing in the pair of jeans is a great idea, or some clothes so you know the right size.
Size, because no one knows what their size of their mother is, and they go, well, I think she's she's this big, or that's really not very clear.
Not helpful.
And I think a really good way to just summer's about here, and this is a really pretty little dress from Ralph Lauren.
Right.
And it's just a sundress. It's not really terribly size sensitive, which is very good, and certainly it's just a little strapless dress that you can go to a barbecue in, and you can throw like a colorful sweater, and just
give it a little color.
My idea really is basically stay with some things that are basic, like white or black or beige or blue jeans, and then throw in color along as you go. And then here's another piece that
I take it the sweater like this you could also just put with a pair of white pants.
And jeans as well. It goes back to the jeans. Here's another Tahari thing. I'm sorry, this is a Tahari jacket, but this can go back of the jeans. If I can just have those jeans back, please. This is just a basic, pretty little
could get
evening.
Any one of these pieces. You could get someone a piece like this that they could wear with what they already have.
Right.
Or you could go for a bigger outfit.
Now this is the back of the jeans again. This is the Notori little camisole. This is certainly easy to understand.
This is one of your favorites.
It is totally, because she picks the lace. The lace has got a lot of stretch to it.
And this one's even lined.
So you can wear it with nothing underneath it, but certainly adds a little piece of color to what you have. And this lovely little jacket in linen from Tahari certainly does make a very understandable look.
I think you have something to add another pop of color.
Well, you know what? Well, I think that if I can just have the dress back again, because they all work together. So now you get the dress, And then you know, the sweater is going to go with the jeans. And then you can certainly throw a pretty shawl around her shoulders.
And so again, you
for
could
a
just
summer
pick
evening.
one thing, and you know they have a white dress or something.
It's just basically
little
stay
pop
with
of
something
color.
that's very basic. Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
And just add like accessories of color that pop, that around her face is very flattering.
And what if you really want to blow the bank on Mom this year?
Okay, well, you know, if you've had a good year and the market's up, you know, we all know Chanel's very expensive, but like, here's a great bag from Chanel. And it just is one of those things that, you know, it goes with every color. Metallics are very in.
Right.
And
That's
certainly,
lovely.
certainly it's a nice size, and just like this is an adjustable strap.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, if you really need to get major points, certainly a Chanel bag is right here down the street. So come
Well,
shop
that's
at
great.
Saks Fifth Avenue.
Liz, thanks for coming in. Great
Oh,
ideas as always.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you
Happy
to
Mother's
you
Day.
too.
I'm Amy Schachtel, and I'm here at LMC TV tonight, and the buzz has begun for the 17th Annual LMC TV Awards, which will be happening on the 25th of this month at the Emmeline Theater. And I'm here tonight with two ladies, Dee O'Brien and Amy Ralston-Seif. And both of you are going to be co-hosting this event on the 25th of this month, starting at 7 o'clock at the Emmeline Theater. Ladies, I know you have much more to tell us about it. Would you like to start off, Amy?
Well, I'd like to introduce Dee O'Brien, who has been teaching English at the Homix Middle School for 35 years. And she's been directing the Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company for 33 years. And she was the 2004 Sunny LMC-TV Sunny's Award winner. Recipient.
Thank you, Amy.
It's an honor to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you. And this is my friend Amy Seif, who is one of the producers of the Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company. And we are grateful that she could join us in our group because she is one of our favorite mothers.
Now, how did it come about that the two of you will be co-hosting this event this year?
Shall we? We could tell that story. Would you like to, Amy?
It's an anecdote.
Go
Dee,
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
All
Dee.
right. Christina from LMC TV called up, and I have a very long association with LMC TV. And she said, Dee, we'd like you to be the host of the annual awards show. And I said, well, that would be lovely, Christine, but could I ask my friend Amy if she would like to co-host? So I called Amy, and she said,
Sure.
Great.
thinking
that we were going to dinner together. So then I got the email from Sharon Mosley, Executive Director of LMC TV, saying, thanks for agreeing to co-host. And that was a surprise, but it's a ride, right, Dee? It's a ride.
It's fun.
It's fun.
And so now, what have you done in preparation of this upcoming event?
Amy has actually written a poem.
Well, being Shakespeareophiles, which I believe is a new word, we have a little poem that is loosely based on Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare.
Who?
William Shakespeare.
Should I know him?
He's an up-and-coming playwright. You should probably look into him.
I will.
Okay. May we read?
Take it away.
It's an ode to LMC TV. Shall I compare thee to another TV station? Thou art more local and more relevant.
That networks try to satisfy the nation, but thy shows are first-rate and pertinent.
While other stations desperately compete to provide their watchers with a broadcast heaven,
Thy loyal viewers find a daily treat when they turn on channels 75 through 77.
thy programs range from personal health and style to interviews with retired CEOs.
To district meetings with the rank and file, our community loves thy diverse, interesting shows. So long as men and women's eyes can see, we shall support thee, LMC TV.
That was great.
Well, we have a writer in our midst.
We have fun.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we look forward to May 25th,
7 p.m.
Emmeline Theater.
Thursday night.
Be there.
Terrific.
Thank you.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, Mamaroneck Town Center, 740 West Boston Post Road, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Römer.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next time. More sex charges against Mamaroneck teacher.
The final Village of Larchmont budget is in.
The day laborers sue and immigrants protest.
A new law to keep your identity safe online.
The pros will swing locally, but amateurs must strive for practice.
The LMC TV Awards show is coming up, and you're invited.
And local Memorial Day events. Those stories and more coming up on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Mike Witch.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. More charges against Hommock's music teacher Omar Rodriguez. In April, Rodriguez faced 2 counts of statutory rape after a 16-year-old Connecticut resident said she had had sex with him in his home in Mamaroneck, and 6 counts of child endangerment relating to conduct with female Hommock students. At an arraignment hearing on May 8th, Rodriguez faced 2 additional counts of child endangerment for alleged inappropriate touching of 2 other students on school grounds. Court documents allege that Rodriguez tickled the midsection of 2 girls, ages 13 and 14, and had them sitting on his lap. According to the Journal News, Rodriguez's attorney, Andrew Rubin, downplayed the new charges, saying they were expected and were like the prior endangerment allegations related to the alleged tickling. Rodriguez is free on $100,000 bail. Mamaroneck school officials say they reported Rodriguez to the police when the district's investigation raised concerns, and the district says it has communicated with parents and students and has offered opportunities for support and counseling. However, attorney Paul Noto, who represents 3 of the children involved, says that there has not been full disclosure by the district, and of course we'll keep you posted.
Larchmont's Village Board has unanimously approved a budget $13.8 million for next year. It boosts spending over last year by $573,000 and comes with a tax rate increase of 4.5%, a moderate increase compared to the relatively steep hikes of the past 3 budgets. That's according to the Larchmont Gazette. It's partially due to the trustees' use of $190,000 of surplus money. Trustee Marleen Kolbert was quoted by the paper saying, "We were prudent with the budget, with the surplus. It brings the budget to a very reasonable tax rate." She added that it maintains the level of services that people have come to expect. By comparison, the Village of Mamaroneck's 2006 and 7 budget calls for a tax rate increase of 3.9%. Back to Larchmont, trustee Mike Weiner also used the word prudent to describe the budget, and he called for enhancing revenue in the village. For example, he'd like to have the Larchmont Building Department pay for itself by adjusting fees, and he suggests that utility companies and others whose work rips up the street should cover more of the costs of proper repaving. Trustee Ann McAndrews thanked past boards for building up of the surplus, funds, she said, that help smooth out the impact of tax increases. She also wants to look into more cost-effective approaches to vehicle acquisition, for example, maybe renting vehicles instead of purchasing them. Mayor Liz Feld wrapped up the discussion, calling for some serious planning. She'd like a new capital plan and a budget plan that lays out projections for the next 4 years, and she expects to make greater use of the Village Budget Committee, renamed the Finance Committee, that will probably now meet year-round instead of just during the budget season.
At our last show, Mamaroneck Village Trustee Bill Panessa spoke about a just-filed lawsuit against the village by the Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund on behalf of 6 unnamed day laborers. The lawsuit alleges that the village violated the laborers' First Amendment freedoms of speech and assembly by allegedly deterring the day laborers from soliciting work, by closing the hiring site at Columbus Park and targeting them for harassment by police surveillance of the area. The lawsuit also sought a temporary injunction against the village. At a hearing on April 27th, the judge did not issue the restraining order, recognizing a lack of factual evidence, but put the lawsuit on a fast track for full arguments on May 30th. On May 1st, as rallies and vigils were held against the proposed new federal immigration laws nationwide that would make the illegal residents felons, a vigil also was held in the village of Mamaroneck. The village police department says that the vigil was without incident as between the police and the protesters. The only arrest involved a teenage suspect from Rye involved in graffiti who claimed to be in the village for the vigil.
Westchester County has a new law on the books. It requires companies using wireless internet networks to take steps to protect their customers against identity theft and other computer fraud. The law may be the first of its kind in the U.S., maybe in the world. It applies to all commercial businesses that collect personal customer information, such as social security numbers, credit card or bank account information, and also have a wireless network. In addition, businesses that offer public internet access must also post a sign advising customers to install a firewall or other computer security measure when accessing the internet. As he signed the new legislation, County Executive Andy Spano said, "We know there are many unsecured wireless networks out there, and any malicious individual with even minimal technical competence would have no trouble accessing information that should be kept confidential." The county has also published a new brochure and a website to educate consumers about how to prevent identity theft. You can find it on the web. The address is www.westchestergov.com/ID theft. Last fall, a team from the Department of Information Technology took a drive through downtown White Plains. Using a laptop computer equipped with easily available software, they came across 248 wireless hotspots in less than half an hour. Of those, almost half lacked any visible security at all. Many failed to even provide a name for their network, instead using a standard default name, thereby getting the attention of hackers. Said Mr. Spano, "Someone sitting in a car across the street or in a nearby building could invade any of these networks and steal unprotected, confidential information." Legislators say required security measures can be as simple as installing a network firewall or changing the system's network name. The Department of Consumer Protection's Division of Weights and Measures will enforce the new law. Violators face fines up to $500. By the way, this does not apply to individual home users. In a related effort to combat computer crime, the county's Department of Public Safety recently created the state's first accredited digital crime and investigation unit. 2 investigators are now searching the internet for anyone involved in identity theft or fraud, sometimes called phishing, pedophilia, and cyberbullying. The unit will also recover digital evidence that can be used by prosecutors seeking convictions.
A reminder for registered voters that Tuesday, May 16th is the day to vote on the Mamaroneck school budget and for school board trustees. Residents vote at their local elementary school and polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. You also have the opportunity at your polling place, but not on the official ballot, to vote for members for the Committee for the Selection of School Board Nominees. Information on the proposed 2006-07 school budget can be found at the superintendent's office, the local elementary school offices, and online at www.mamkschools.org. Just click on the link to district-wide information.
The Larchmont Gazette reports that Mamaroneck High School is again included in Newsweek magazine's list of the top 1,000 high schools, and this year's rank is higher than last year. However, educators are not fond of the methodology that ranks schools on the basis of just one measure devised by journalist Jay Matthews, namely the number of advanced placement or international baccalaureate classes taken by all students divided by the number of graduating seniors. Many teachers are ambivalent about the value of having all students take as many college-level courses as possible, regardless of interest, time, or aptitude. As it happens, AP offerings are up at MHS this year. More students are taking at least one advanced class. Department heads suggest this is part of larger trends to both lower the bar and improve minority achievement. One social studies teacher, Kathy Donison, has a beef with Mr. Matthews that goes back to his first list, published in his book, Class Struggle, What's Wrong and Right with America's Best Public High Schools. The book was researched largely at Mamaroneck High School. She says that large numbers of students now sign up for AP courses for all of the wrong reasons: social pressure to be at the top, pressure exerted by parents, and college admissions concerns. Donison says some parents ask the school to consider limiting the number of AP classes per student so as to relieve pressure. But she adds the school's guidance department hears college admissions people say the fewer APs, the less attractive a student's transcript. Mamaroneck added 2 new AP Social Studies classes this year, along with an AP Environmental Science class. And Dr. Fred Levine, head of the science department, says about 200 of the 374 seniors are enrolling in AP Science classes next year. Mathematics Department Chair Jerry Browse predicted that many more students will be taking AP Math classes, partly because 85% of the Homics graduates have already passed the first high school level course, allowing them a chance to take an AP class in 12th grade. Dr. Levine made similar predictions of more science AP enrollment. All Homics students are now taking high school level Earth Science in grade 8, leaving them time to take an AP course in their senior year.
Wonder what the community will look like in 10 years? Christy McAvoy-Derrico, president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck League of Women Voters, says you might be surprised. With many building projects up for discussion in the tri-municipal area, the League is sponsoring a community forum on new developments on May 18th from 7:30 to 9:30 in the evening at the Emlyn Theater in Mamaroneck. The forum is co-sponsored by the Water Quality Committee in the Village of Mamaroneck and will address how to build responsibly in the Larchmont and Mamaroneck waterfront without sacrificing quality of life, how to minimize the impact on services and infrastructures, and how residents can participate in the planning process. The presentation will be followed by a Q&A period, and the public is encouraged to attend. Again, that's May 18th from 7:30 to 9:30.
The town of Mamaroneck is getting ready for the U.S. Open Golf Tournament. It's coming to Wingfoot June 12th to 19th. The board has enacted 2 new laws, banning parking on more than 100 streets and roads between Weaver Street and Old White Plains Road, and making Carriage House Lane and Well House Lane into one-way streets. That will enable drop-offs for limousines and taxis. These are temporary restrictions, we're told. They'll be in effect from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening during the tournament. Violators face fines of $250. Town Supervisor Valerie O'Keefe says that all affected residents will be notified about these restrictions by mail. Some 50,000 spectators are expected to park in Orchard Park Beach and at Westchester Community College, where bus service will be provided to get them to Wingfoot. About 15,000 people are expected to travel by train to Mamaroneck. Again, buses will bring them to the golf club. Town Administrator Steve Altieri assured the board that police, fire, and other emergency services will be coordinated to ensure public safety. He said the cost of these services, along with the cost of all signage, will be paid by the U.S. Golf Association.
Some disappointing news for local duffers. The Cherry Lawn Golf Range on Weaver Street, just over the Larchmont border in New Rochelle, closed on April 30th. Owner Robert Vidali finally got an offer he couldn't refuse and sold it to a developer. The range was a family business since 1949 when Vidali's father bought the operation. So, where to go now for those practice balls? Cherry Lawn's golf pro, John Del Vecchio, is now at the Turtle Cove Golf Center in the Bronx, which is about 6 miles away off of I-95. There's the Griffith E. Harris Golf Course in Greenwich, and through the summer you can head to Greenburgh for the Westchester Golf Range, but it's scheduled to close this fall after it's sold. So it'll be tough finding a place to hit balls. Is the next Donald Trump hiding at Mamaroneck High School? Mike got to talk to some future business leaders of America.
Last week, we delivered a report about all of the awards that you folks won at the Ellenville competition. I think that was an all-state competition, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so now we'd like to welcome you here to talk about several of the awards that you've won. And first up is Christina Raleigh. You're the historian of the FBLA.
Oh, I'm co-historian.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
And the Chapter 1 Chapter of the Year.
Yeah.
And that's a trophy. That's a big trophy back here, right?
Yeah. It's,
what is that? Tell us about it.
Well, it's considered the most prestigious competition at States.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, we put together a scrapbook with everything that the chapter's done the entire year, and we need to document everything with summaries and pictures and attendance lists and letters and stuff like that. And we spend a bunch of time putting it all together into a scrapbook, and then we're awarded certain points for each thing that we do and for competitions that we win, and then we won first place.
Terrific.
Well, we tied. But
How many other chapters are in this competition?
how many other chapters run?
There are about 180 in the state. I
180.
believe.
So of 180, you folks won first place.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
A lot of work went into it, and that's a mighty impressive trophy. Adam, you're the vice president of the FBLA?
Yeah.
And tell us about the American Enterprise Project. You were the chairperson, I understand.
Yes, this year I was the chair, and basically each year our chapter runs an American Enterprise Project for a state competition. And the guidelines just say that you have to make a project to demonstrate free enterprise and share knowledge about free enterprise. So this year what we did was we got together with a new club at our school, Free the Children, and we helped them to start a candy selling business, and we helped them to work with Sweet and Nutty, a local retailer, in order to, we first built candy baskets, then we made a magazine to sell them from, like a catalog to order from.
Right.
And then we sold them for holiday baskets.
Wow. So did the club make money?
Yes. All the money went to Free the Children, which pays for schools in third world countries.
Congratulations. So it's one club helping another club.
Yeah. And actually the project this year won third in the state.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Isabel,
yes.
You're the secretary this year to the
Yes, I am.
FBLA. And you wanted to tell us about the Community Service Project.
Yeah, a big part of FBLA is community service, and every year we do a project where we reach out to some part of community service that we do in Mamaroneck or on a national level. There's really something we always do. This year we worked with Blythedale, a cancer hospital for children, and we raised money and visited sick children there. So that, and we won second place in state. The chairperson of that committee was Catherine Kahn.
Thank you very much for giving us that additional information. And Tony Lloyd-Davies, the multimedia presentation that won first place this year. Tell us about that.
Well, what that is making a presentation, in this case it was PowerPoint, about a given topic, which was preventing identity theft. And so we spent a lot, it was a team activity, so I was working with Steffi Duarte and Carolina Kupferman, and we had a presentation, and you know, we had to send that in beforehand, and then at States we won first place, so we're going to nationals.
And what did you integrate into the multimedia? Pictures?
Yeah, it's pictures, mostly just information. There's music in the background. I mean, it was...
Would this be like targeted to teenagers or to adults or everybody?
I think mostly towards adults, but it's not specific. It's just those in danger of becoming subject to identity theft.
Well, it's an important topic these days. And last but not least, Elias Everett, public speaking. Tell us about that.
Well, it's public speaking is a competition where you have to write up a speech basically about the 9 goals of FBLA. My goal was to strengthen the confidence in students in themselves and in their work.
A noble goal.
And I had to pass through the districts, and I got second in the districts, and I went to states, and I got second at the states.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Has this experience with FBLA helped you in other subjects in the high school?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us how?
Not only has it strengthened my confidence in myself and in my work, but also I felt more confident in how I just approached school, making new friends. This is my first year at Mamaroneck High School, and I came from another private school, so it's inspired me to,
You sound like a very strong speaker.
Thank you.
Congratulations on this award, and I think you're going to continue to do even better stuff. And as we were preparing this interview, you folks told me something about why you were in the FBLA. There are social reasons, there are college application reasons. I wanted to ask you something, though, about the lessons that you are gathering from business in the news. I mean, we hear about corporate scandals, we hear about corporate America. Is something about ethics, you said the chapter, or on the state level they deal with it?
Well, actually, current issues in the business world are involved a lot in competitions in FBLA. One of the competitions I participated in is called Emerging Business Issues, where every year you're given a current business issue and you prepare a presentation. This year it was Social Security, last year it was corporate mergers, and I really learned a lot from it. I think it's a great competition, and it's great that high schoolers learn what's going on in the business world and what they can do.
Do you have high hopes for the business community at large?
Yeah, I hope that the community in the business issue, I hope that FBLA can uprise into, not only the community, but also into the state. I mean, we've worked with other Free the Children, for example. That's the national organization. And so eventually it'll help not only the community, but the state also.
Well, you 5 are from an FBLA of 41 members, you told me? Wow. It's going strong. And Eileen Multari is your longtime advisor? Congratulations to her, too. Thank you so much for coming down and joining us and telling us about these awards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Journal News last week reported on progress to improve the health of Long Island Sound. There was good news and bad news. Striped bass are running strong, ospreys are nesting in greater numbers, there are fewer heavy metals, and nitrogen levels are dropping. But this enthusiasm over these improvements is tempered by forces such as warmer weather and continuing development along the Sound shore. It's all detailed in a new 16-page report from the Long Island Sound Study. That's a joint effort by the Environmental Protection Agency and the states of Connecticut and New York, along with other agencies. You can find the Sound Health 2006 report on the internet, www.longislandsoundstudy.net. It says that pollutant discharges are decreasing. Contaminant levels are overall in decline. That seals, ospreys, and striped bass have made remarkable recoveries, but there remain troubling signs of a system in distress. Construction of homes, stores, and other development continues to cover more land, and salt marshes disappear or turn to mudflats, destroyed by rising water levels, human interference, plant disease, or a combination of the causes. According to the report, development has destroyed or altered many vital habitats, harmed native wildlife populations, and reduced breeding grounds and nursery areas for many species. Warmer weather has also brought about changes in the types of sea life seen in the estuary. The update on the Sound's health follows reports in 2003 and 2001, and for the first time seeks to quantify the water quality in each of the 3 sections of the Sound. We're in the western section, Westchester County to Bridgeport, Connecticut, and we see the most trouble. Water quality was rated good just 23% of the time here. Most of the time, it was rated fair. The Mamaroneck and New Rochelle beaches still close automatically when a half-inch of rain falls because the water overwhelms sewer systems and allows sewage to flow into the Sound untreated. That's even with the Gunder boom, a filter suspended from a floating boom at Harbor Island Park Beach in Mamaroneck. Swimming there is allowed inside the area protected by the boom. If you want to read the full report, the website again is www.longislandsoundstudy.net.
And you can get a jump on the Memorial Day festivities by joining LMC-TV at its 17th annual award night on Thursday, May 25th at the Emlyn Theater beginning at 7 p.m. It also will be broadcast live on this channel, but it's more fun to be there. And this year there will be free food at a reception immediately following the award show. Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce member restaurants will be on hand with samples of their specialties. So far, LMC-TV promises to delight you with ice cream from Cold Stone Creameries on Mamaroneck Avenue. The Wine Vault, a private storage facility for wine lovers at One Depot Plaza, has generously donated a one-year membership as a silent auction item at this year's event. Oh, there'll be awards too. Winners will be announced from all categories of the infamous annual Almost Anything Goes video contest. The Mary Ann Sullivan Award for Overall Achievement in Community Television will be given to the Hispanic Resource Center of Larchmont and Mamaroneck for their long-term commitment to televising public affairs programs of interest to the community. Since March of 2004, the Hispanic Resource Center has produced 11 programs and inspired many others, and many of these shows air in both English and Spanish. In the past, the award has gone to both individuals and organizations. Last year's award went to Westchester County Legislator Judy Myers. There also will be awards for LMC-TV's Volunteer of the Year and other awards for LMC-TV programs. In fact, this news show has been nominated this year for Outstanding Series. We hope you'll be there to cheer us on.
With Memorial Day weekend approaching, it's time to take a look at the upcoming festivities. First, it's officially an extra long weekend for students and teachers. The Mamaroneck Public Schools will be closed not only Monday, May 29th, that's Memorial Day, but also Friday, May 26th. It's a give back of an unused snow day. On Thursday, May 25th, you can join the town of Mamaroneck and Village of Larchmont at the annual Memorial Day Parade. It begins at 7 p.m. at the Larchmont Railroad Station, goes down Chatsworth Avenue, turns right onto Palmer, then left onto Larchmont Avenue, and it ends at Cherry Avenue just past Village Hall. And the annual American Legion Memorial Day Parade in the Village of Mamaroneck will be held on Tuesday, May 30th at 7 in the evening. It starts at Mamaroneck Avenue School on Mamaroneck Avenue. Where else? And heads down the avenue to Prospect Avenue, ending in front of the memorial by the American Legion. There will be hot dogs and soda at the end of the parade.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you'd like to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 o'clock. We record one show each week. It's replayed on this channel, 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
This reminder, the news program is an all-volunteer effort. We could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot some video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The studios are in the Mamaroneck High School Palmer Avenue building, just up the stairs, across the street from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, Mamaroneck Town Center, 740 West Boston Post Road, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Mike Witch.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you in June.